Hello everyone, welcome to another Weather Wednesday. My name's Elias here at the Space Foundation Discovery Center, and boy, there is a lot to talk about. We are going to take a look at weather around the world, and there are a lot of events going on. So behind me is our clouds real time, taking a look at the weather, and you can see right now there is a storm system in the Gulf of Mexico that is headed towards the United States. We're going to take a look at that in just a little bit. Right now, though, I would like to take a look at a typhoon that has hit Vietnam. So here's some images, some pictures of the aftermath of Typhoon Molave. This typhoon is the fourth significant storm to hit Vietnam in the last 3 weeks. So that has caused a lot of flooding, a lot of loss of property and food in Vietnam. So there is a lot going on in Southeast Asia. Let's take a look at what that looks like using that clouds real time. So moving this around, can you find Vietnam? This is always a test of your geography to see how well you know where countries are. So right here, where's my arrow? There it is. Right here is Vietnam on this side right there. And you can see these storm systems as they come through. Have been a lot of clouds, which means a lot of rain, a lot of moisture in the southeast part of Asia. And if you've been following my Weather Wednesdays, this monsoon season this year has been very extreme. It has been produced a lot of moisture. Now, what causes all this moisture? Well, it's the sea temperatures and the air temperatures. The sea temperatures have been warmer than they ever have before. The land temperatures have been warmer than they ever have before. In fact, globally, this year we've had either the warmest or second warmest temperatures globally of any time in recorded history. That is since the mid-1800s. So the temperatures have been high. When the temperatures are high, that allows for more evaporation, more moisture to be held in the atmosphere. And this moisture then comes and rains or precipitates over certain areas. The Southeast Asia portion has been hit significantly this monsoon season. So here is one system that you can see that came and hit northern Vietnam. Here comes that Typhoon Molave here as it first hit the Philippines and then really grew and hit Vietnam head on. The news clips tell me that they evacuated over 1 million people off the coastal areas of Vietnam, and that I'm sure has helped to save countless lives. Vietnam has had, over these last 4 weeks, over 150 deaths because of all this flooding and significant rain. And I'm sure that by evacuating these people and having the warning of this typhoon before it hit, that has saved a lot of lives. But that doesn't mean that structures are saved. So keep in mind the people of Vietnam as they are trying to pick up and trying to dry out from all this moisture. We're going to take a look at the forecast later on to see if this is the last of that significant rainfall in the area. The next weather story, obviously, in our area is the idea of snow and wildfires combined. The central part of the United States has just experienced some really low temperatures for this time of year. We usually do get some snow and some cold temperatures, but not this much. There was single-digit highs in a lot of areas in the central part of the United States. During this snow system, Colorado here has had some large wildfires going on. Those wildfires are also continuing in California. So wildfires is also the story of 2020, and in fact, the late part of the summer of 2020. The California fires have been raging since the middle of August, and they are still ongoing. One interesting website that I came across was from NBC News. NBC News has this interactive graphic that you can overlay the top 10 fires that the United States has experienced this summer, on top of any number of cities that you choose. I think there's a database of over 1,000 cities that you could lay these fires on top of to see the extent of the burn area. So if you just Google NBC News interactive fire map, you can find that these interactive sites. I want to just show you a few of those on Science on a Sphere here. So this one, I don't know exactly which one is which, but I did choose one fire from the Oregon, which is called the Beachy Fire. I chose one fire from California, which is the August Complex, and one fire from here in Colorado. If you take all of these fires and add them up, the extent of damage would stretch from Denver all the way down to Colorado Springs. That is a 60-mile stretch where these fires, if you combine them, that's how much area is burned. In fact, about a month ago, I was reading that California has had 3% of its land area up in flames. So 3% of its total land area has been burned just this year. So Colorado, Oregon, Washington, and California have experienced the worst fire season in their recorded histories. And so it's been it's been really great for Colorado to get this snow that came and helps to smother out those flames, and also to give the firefighters just a day of opportunity to make headway on the fires. So keep all those people in California, Colorado, and still cleaning up in Oregon some fires. Keep all those firefighters in mind, and also see if you can possibly donate to those that have been influenced by this fire. So another big weather event is the fires going on. The third weather event that is currently happening right now is in the Gulf of Mexico. And the Gulf of Mexico here is having another hurricane. This is Hurricane Zeta. And Hurricane Zeta is on its way to Louisiana. And here, as my Science on a Sphere is being a little bit cold right now, I'm going to see if I can bring up the area right here. This is our true color, which is our GOES 16 and 17 images. Fast forward all the way to today, and you can see that image. Come on, where's my arrow? Show me the arrow. Here we go. There you can see this storm that is on its way up into the southeast part of the United States, going to hit Louisiana again. Louisiana, this is the 5th named storm just this year to hit the coast of Louisiana. That is a record for Louisiana. This is also a record number of hurricanes to make landfall somewhere in the United States. In fact, I do believe that all of them have been in the Gulf of Mexico this year. That is going to make landshore. The eye of the hurricane is going to make landshore as a Category 1 hurricane this afternoon between 2 and 8 p.m. is when it's going to hit there. Then something unusual is going to happen. This hurricane storm system is going to hit it's going to combine with the cold air that we just experienced in the central part of the United States. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens next. Is it going to add a bit of snowfall over the Northeast, over New England? Is it going to just bring rain? How much wind is it going to bring to the east part of the United States? In my mind, as we get a warm tropical storm combining with the cold air, that, in my mind, could lead to possible thunderstorms. And I don't know if there's even maybe some tornadic development. So keep a close eye on that boundary between where the hurricane combines with that cold air. So let me back this up just a little bit so to see if you can see the daylight hours. This is looking at yesterday, and you can see all these clouds right here. This is that cold air mass that sank down from Canada, bringing those cold temperatures. So when this system comes up and hits the cold air, what's it going to do to the East Coast? We're going to have to see. So moving along, kind of finishing up with the forecast, taking a look at the weather around the world. Let's start with the United States here. So looking at the United States and starting over here, we see that system. You can see that Hurricane Zeta right here making its way onshore. And you'll notice that the rings are not very close together as you would typically expect with a hurricane or typhoon. That's because this is hitting as only a Category 1, or if possibly, it might even weaken to a tropical storm as it makes its way on land. And then here is that cold weather right there. And so as we progress, let's take a look and see what is going to happen. So it's going to, looks like Hurricane Zeta is going to maintain its strength. You can see those rings pretty close together. That will bring some wind over the east part, and that's what this forecast model is predicting, is it's coming straight across the east coast there, and we'll see if there's going to be any, we'll see if there will be any snow in the mountains, the Appalachians right here, and in the northeast. Here in central part of the United States, as we go through, we will continue to see just some clouds develop. What I'm looking for and what you should be looking for is dips in those black lines. A dip would mean cloudy weather or low pressure system. A ridge, which would indicate high pressure system or sunny weather. So here in East Colorado, we see a few dips right there, and so some possibility of clouds over the next few days. Another system coming in on the 1st, November 1st, possibly producing some moisture on the 1st. That would be great for this area. Here's something interesting that I was looking at. I'll bring that up on this guy right here. Here is another model. This is the wind vectors, or the wind streamers. This is always a fun one to look at just for the the colors and motions of things. But this is the wind at high elevations. So this is what's called 250 millibars. So this is where the jet stream is. The jet stream is like a highway of moving these storm systems or moving these weather patterns across the United States or across the world. And so the jet stream, what it is showing, let me bring this choppy thing up here. So you can see as I start back here, look at that dip across the central part of the United States. That was that cold air mass as it's making its way across. And then we see this rotating system off the west coast. That is a high pressure system. But here's what I notice, what's kind of interesting, is that as I progress this towards November here, you see this, there's a big dip. And what I'm rooting for, what I'm hoping for is some moisture in California. That would really help those fires. And so what I see this big trough right here off the west coast. That's on November 2nd. So a couple days later, it would be interesting to see. I'm hoping that this will produce maybe a low pressure system, maybe some moisture for California, but we'll have to see. That this is the extent of this forecast model. We'll have to see what the days will bring. So stay tuned for next Weather Wednesday to see whether that did come into fruition there. Let's go back to the forecast just to wrap up the forecast around the world. Remember, I wanted to take a look at the forecast for Vietnam again. And so let's bring this around to, do you remember where Vietnam is? Right here on the east part of this Southeast Asia right there. So you can see these little circles right here and a circle right here. Those are low pressure systems. And so as we progress through, it does look like there could be another low pressure system that's coming towards Vietnam, producing more rain. Not going to produce as much wind as before or as this typhoon, but definitely on its way. You can see here's the leftovers right here. This is the leftovers of the typhoon. So you can see how tightly packed those rings are. That is Typhoon Molave. And then moving forward, there is another system coming towards Vietnam. And then what I noticed right here close to the Philippines is another typhoon forming, possible typhoon, as it heads towards northern Philippines and southern Taiwan. So keep that in mind as we progress towards November 6th and 7th, that there might be, according to this model, forecasting another typhoon for that area. So typhoon season is not over yet for the extreme western Pacific. Lastly, I want to show you Northern Europe here. Northern Europe is going to experience some wind events over the next few days. The remnants of Hurricane Epsilon. So Hurricane Epsilon was in the Atlantic Ocean, went north towards the New England or Newfoundland area, and then Iceland, and now it's making its way up to northern Europe. It was a particularly strong low-pressure system. While it didn't maintain its hurricane structure, it still is a pretty strong low-pressure system. You can tell by the close lines on here that is going to produce a little bit of wind, probably 35 to 45 miles an hour winds for the north part of Europe as it makes its way onshore. So definitely a stormy fall transitioning into winter here as the temperatures of the earth try to regulate itself, as it tries to find that balance when we're shifting from summer into winter. We're seeing several storms around the world. So it's pretty interesting using Science on a Sphere, pretty interesting to see that weather impacts not just us here in the United States, but weather impacts people around the world. And we need to band together. We need to strengthen one another. Reach out to your friends around the world that they're not alone. They're not fighting these weather systems, these storms, these hurricanes. They're not alone, that we are there watching with you and praying for you guys. And so take care of each other. And I'll bring you more information on next Weather Wednesday. If you want to hear more about what the forecast, what the weather is doing in your area, reach out to us on our social media pages. We love hearing from you, and we look forward to seeing you guys on our next Weather Wednesday. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll keep an eye